Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Unit 4.1, 4.4 review. Remember to show all your work. Today we're going to be talking about graphing inequalities. Okay, so before we get started with graphing, let's just go over a couple of things. We need to remember when we have a closed point and when we have an open point. Okay, so a closed point is when we see less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. And an open point is when it is less than or greater than. And now another thing to know is when it points to the left and the inequality is first, we know that left or less means left. So this also means left. And greater than symbols mean that we need to shade to the right. Okay, so there's a couple different things that we can tell from each of the symbols. Okay, so let's look at the first one. It says x is greater than or equal to -3. So the first thing I notice is that the variable's first, so that's good. And now that point is going to be closed. And since it's greater, it's going to be shading to the right. Okay, so at -3, I'm going to be closed, and then I want to shade everything to the right. Okay, and don't forget your arrow. All right, number 2. The first thing I notice about number 2 is the variable is not first. So that means we need to rewrite it. And when we rewrite it, the x comes first and then the -2. The inequality is pointing at the x, so when I rewrite it, I want to make sure it is still pointing at the x. Okay, so now that it's got the line underneath it, that means it's going to be closed. And it's pointing to the left, and left means less. So we're going to shade to the left. So I go to -2. Once again, I have a closed point, and I'm going to shade everything to the left. All right, number 3. Number 3, we have 2 different inequalities, okay? So there's my first one, x is less than or equal to 3. But then we also have the -2 one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite that one real quick. And we have x, we have -2, and it's pointing at the -2. So I'm going to make sure it stays pointing at the -2. So those are the 2 inequalities that we're going to graph. All right. Now, at -2, going to go to -2. I'm closed, and I want to shade to the right. At 3, I got to go to 3. 1, 2, 3. I am closed, and I want to shade to the left. So what that means is everything in between is going to be shaded. Okay? All right, number 4. Number 4 is kind of the same way. We have our first one right there. X is less than or equal to 0. And we have this one that we're going to need to rewrite. The x comes first, then the -5. And the inequality is pointing at -5, so I'm going to make sure it stays pointing at -5. So at -5, I am open, and we're going to shade to the right. And at 0, I'm closed, and it's less than, so I'm going to shade to the left. And so we end up shading everything in between. All right, number 5. Number 5, there's a key word right there, and it's or. Okay, so we have 2 inequalities. At -2, x is less than or equal to -2. It's closed, and we shade to the left. And at 3, that's the greater than symbol, which means it's open, and we shade to the right. All right, so at -2, closed, and we shade to the left. And at 3, we're open, and we shade to the right. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that when it goes on and on forever, that we have those arrows. Right? And the nice thing to know, when we see this or, that's when we're going to have a break in the graph. Okay? All right, number 6. The first thing I'm going to do for number 6 is I'm going to write my variable. You can pick any one that you want to. I see that it's at 2, and this is closed, and it's shading to the right, which means it's going to be the greater than or equal to 2. All right, number 7. Number 7 is when the x is going to be in the middle, and it's going to be in the middle of two numbers. It's going to be, let's see, -1, -2, that's -3, and our other number is 4. Okay, now if you noticed before when we were graphing these, all of the symbols were pointing to the left. So you can start right away knowing that they're going to be pointing to the left. At -3, it's open, so I'm going to leave it like that. And at 4, it's closed. So that's when we put the line underneath it. And that's it. Number 8. Number 8 is just like number 5. Right away, I know that there's a break in there, so I'm going to put the or. So our first one at -4 is closed, and it's shaded to the left. So that would be x is less than or equal to -4. Remember that we needed the word or there. And then our other inequality, that's at +1. It's open, and it's to the right. So we put the variable first, open, to the right, at +1. All right. Next ones, we are going to be solving these and graphing them. So I'm going to draw the line down the middle, and let's start solving. I want to get the x all by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 3 to both sides. And we have -x is less than 7. Okay? Don't forget about that negative sign. Okay? Now, to get the x by itself, I have to divide by a -1. And whenever we divide by -1, we have to flip that symbol. Okay? So now before it was pointing at the x, now it's going to be pointing to the -7. So we have x is greater than -7. Now the last thing I need to do is graph that. You guys actually have a graph that you can do. I don't. So we're going to put -7 in the middle, 2 numbers above, and 2 numbers below. It's greater, so that's going to be open, and then we're going to shade to the right. All right, next one, number 10. Okay, we're going to draw the line down the middle, and now we're just going to solve. And when we're solving, guys, all we're doing is following the rules of SADMAP. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 8 to both sides. -6 minus 8 is -14, is greater than 2x. Now the x is not by itself yet, so I need to divide, and I'm just dividing. I'm not dividing by a negative, so nothing changes. We get -7 is greater than x. But here, this is where we said that we needed to rewrite, okay? Because we want the variable first. So when I rewrite that, the x comes first, then the -7, and it's pointing at the inequality is pointing at the x, so I want to make sure it is pointing at the x. So there's our answer. X is less than or equal to -7. Oh, and I forgot to do that with number 9. Okay, and the last thing to do is to graph. This time it's less than, and less than means left, and it's going to be open. Okay, number 11. Now, to get the x by itself with a fraction, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by -2/3. Okay? Now, I just multiplied by a negative, which means I have to do something with my symbol. That's right, I have to flip it. So we're going to change the direction of it. And now I need 3 times -2/3. So 3 times, in parentheses, -2/3. We get a -2. So x is less than or equal to -2. And guys, as I'm looking at yours right now, I know that you've got some different variables. That's okay. Okay? That part doesn't matter. Why don't you see if you can graph this one all on your own? Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, so you should have gotten open circle at -2 and shade everything to the right. All right, number 12. Now, number 12, there's our variable right there, but it's outside the parentheses. So that means we're going to have to distribute. -1/2 times 6 gives us -3x, and 1/2 times 4 is going to be 2, but a negative times a negative makes that a positive. Okay, let's see if you can solve this on your own. Pause the video, and good luck. Okay, and when you're all done, you should get x is greater than or equal to -7. And remember that when we divide by negative, we have to flip the sign. Okay? And now let's go ahead and graph that. There's -7. We go 2 above and 2 below. It's a closed circle, closed point, and we shade to the right. All right, 13. Now, the first thing I notice about this one is that I have variables on both sides. So I want to get all my variables to the left because that's how we need to write our inequalities when we're graphing. So what I'm going to do is I am going to subtract the 5w to the other side. Okay? And when I write this in order with the variable first, we have -8w minus 6 is less than or equal to 2. Now, to get the w by itself, we're going to add 6 to both sides. I get -8w is less than or equal to a +8. And then to get the 8 by itself, I'm going to divide. And what are we dividing by? That's right, we're dividing by negative. And when we divide by negative, we have to flip the sign. Okay, so make sure we flip that sign. Okay? And then when we graph, we go 2 above and 2 below. It's going to be closed and it's greater than, so we shade to the right. Okay, 14. First thing we have to do for 14 is I see that we need to distribute. So the left side stays the same, negative 2x plus 4 is greater than 3x minus 6. And once again, I want my variable to the left side. Okay, so I'm going to move the 3x, and it's going to be a negative 3x to both sides. Negative 2 minus 3 is a negative 5x plus 4 is greater than negative 6. Okay, so why don't you guys pause the video, solve, and graph this all on your own. Good luck. Okay, so you should have gotten x is less than 2. Remember that when you have a negative number in front of the exponent, that we have to flip when we divide. Okay. All right, last ones. Now, don't get freaked out on problems that look like 15, okay? We're going to draw the lines down both inequalities, and our goal is to still solve for x. So the first thing that I would do is add 8, but when we add 8, we do it to all the sides, okay? So negative 20 plus 8. Guys, I think this is real quick. This is your 17, okay? So we're adding 8 to both sides, and we get negative 12 is less than or equal to 12x, which is less than 24. Okay, since the variable's not by itself yet, we're going to divide by 12, and once again, we're dividing everything by 12. So we get negative 1 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 2. Okay, so 0, 1, there's 2. So we need to look at negative 1. It's going to be closed. And at 2, it's going to be open. And then we shade everything in the middle. All right, number 16, I think, is the same minus the variable. So that's fine. Okay, we're going to draw the lines down the inequalities. And once again, we're going to solve for x. We're going to add 2 to everything. On the left, we get negative 12 is less than negative 3x, which is less than or equal to negative 3. Okay, to get the x by itself, we have to divide by negative 3. And when we divide by negative, we have to make sure that we flip all those signs. So I'm going to do that first. X is in the middle. Negative 12 divided by negative 3 is 4. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. Now when I see this, we need to make sure that these are in order from least to greatest. So we actually have to rewrite this. And the 1 comes first, then the x, and then the 4. Okay? So right here, the inequality is pointing at the 1. And in our second inequality, it's pointing at the x. So here's our answer. And now let's graph. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the 1 is closed, and the 4 is open. And then we just shade in between. Did I highlight my answer over here? I did not. Okay, so we did 17, we did 16, and now this one is your 15. Okay, so when I see that or, I know that we've got two different graphs that we're dealing with. So we're going to solve each one of these individually. So first one, we're going to divide by the -5. I divided by negative, which means I have to flip that inequality. And -20 divided by -5 is 4. On the other side, we're going to subtract the 2 to both sides. And I get -x is less than or equal to 3. Now the x isn't by itself because there's a negative sign in front of it. And then once again, if I divide by negative, I have to flip the sign. Okay? Now, when we're talking about these two inequalities, I want to put them in order from the least to greatest. So I'm going to put the -3 first, and then the 4. And then that's our answer. Okay? And when we solve this, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, there's 4. My -3 is closed, and I'm going to shade to the left. And 4 is closed, pardon me, and I'm going to shade to the right. Okay. Well, guys, that's it for Algebra Unit 4.1, 4.4 review. If you have any questions, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off. Thanks for watching.